Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Steven Jarvis and Friends podcast. If you haven't yet, please like, sub, hit the notification icon, and you know what? Tell your friends about us. Today, I'm wearing my Talkin' Shit shirt, which I got from the Talkin' Shit crew. And if you want to get that shirt, head over to youtube.com/@talkinshit, and you could find your way of getting your own very own Talkin' Shit t-shirt. So today we are talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film review, and also we're going to be talking about the video game that just got released, which that game is fucking awesome. And I have to say that. All right. So let's get into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is an American horror franchise created by Kim Hinkle and Toby Hooper. It consists of 9 films, comics, a novel, and 2 video game adaptations. The franchise focuses on the cannibalistic spree killer Leatherface, who uses a chainsaw as a signature weapon, and his family, who terrorize unsuspecting visitors to their territories in the desolate Texas countryside, typically killing and subsequently cooking them. The film series has grossed over 252 million at the worldwide box office. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the very first film, was released in October 11th of 1974, where so Texas Chainsaw Massacre is kind of just like Black Christmas in a way. And I know people are going to be like, well, what do you mean by Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Black Christmas are the same realm? Well, I'm saying that because they didn't get the notoriety that they should have, or even not the notoriety, but I would say probably the becoming famous as much as like Halloween in 1978 would. And 1974, I do believe both Texas Chainsaw and Black Christmas, the original, came out. And when Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, it was pretty much a drive-in movie. And it's really sad because I think if they would have put this movie into, let's say, theater, and if they would have really put their due diligence into promoting it, I think this movie spawns the slasher or horror genre a lot sooner than what Halloween does in 1978. But that's just my opinion. Like everyone says, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one too. So, also, it also introduces us to a new type of killer, that being Leatherface. And Leatherface, let's be honest, is scary as hell. I mean, I remember watching this movie with my dad. He was sitting on the couch. I was sitting on the couch. I think my brother was either in the kitchen at the time or whatnot. But when they do the opening and you see the camera shutter and all that, it freaked me out. And I think I was about like 8 or 9. And not knowing the backstory behind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was based off of Ed Gein from, I know it's some place in Wisconsin, but at the same time, Leatherface isn't alone in the first movie. You got the hitchhiker, you got the cook, and you got Grandpa, which Grandpa is really old, but it makes you wonder if he kind of taught Leatherface, the hitchhiker, and the cook how to do what they do. Because, I mean, they always say he's the best at, killing and all that. And granted, the grandpa did work at a slaughter factory. So it really does beg to see this film the way that it was back then. And I know there's people that like the remakes, and the sequels, but Texas Chainsaw, the very first one, is the very best, in my humble opinion. And when we're introduced to Leatherface after one of the young adults or teenagers show up, it's kind of like Leatherface is kind of trying to how would you say the word, protect their territory from these what he considers trespassers. And those trespassers are Sally Hardesty, Jerry, Pam, Kirk, and Sally's handicapped brother Franklin, which I know this is going to piss off a lot of people, but I felt Franklin deserved it. Not because he's handicapped, but because of how annoying he got when they're trying to find their friends, and he's shouting at the top of his lungs saying, "Hey, you know, where are you guys?" And then all of a sudden Leatherface just pops out and goes to town on him. I think it's very, very funny that Franklin dies that way. I know there's some people that probably would say, well, Stephen, why do you feel that way? It's just because I don't like Franklin. He's that type of character in every horror movie that it's just like you're hoping that the killer kills them next. And when that doesn't happen, then you're kind of like, ah, oh, dang, now I gotta listen to their annoying ass again. So once Franklin dies, I'm sorry, but I cheered. And they first pick up, well, rewind. The reason why they're taking a road trip, which is Sally again, Jerry, Pam, Kirk, and Franklin, is because there's been a bunch of grave robbing happening in a cemetery in Newt Murto County, Texas. And it's really, really weird how they find out that their grandfather, nothing happened to them. They drive past a slaughterhouse, which Franklin later recounts the Hardesty's family's history with animal slaughter. And then they pick up the hitchhiker, who proceeds to show how creepy this family is going to be. And he later cuts himself with Franklin's knife and even cuts Franklin. And when they kick him out of the van, they don't know this, but he later the hitchhiker wipes blood on the van to kind of give Leatherface and other people, hey, these people, you know, it's kind of like a trap that hitchhiker does. And so finally they stop at a gas station where they find out that, you know, the gas station that they're at says that no fuel is available. And so they decide to wait until the next day for the fuel truck to arrive, which we never find out if it does. And once they're done with that, they go to a nearby abandoned house that was owned by the Hardesty family. Kirk and Pam, who are boyfriend, girlfriend, they decide to leave the others behind. They want to go swimming. But let's be honest, that's code name for sex. I mean, back in the 70s, anyone that would say, hey, you know, I got this pretty girl, let's go swimming, you know, let's be honest, that's not what they meant. And so they happen upon hearing a generator after they found that the local watering hole that Franklin told them about isn't there anymore. It's all dried up. So once they hear this generator going off, they're thinking, oh, hey, gas. We could ask these people for gas in the van and get out of here. And so Kirk and Pam end up at I guess they call it the slaughterhouse, but they literally end up where Leatherface is. And when Jerry goes to check, or not Jerry, sorry, Kirk goes to check in the house for anyone, he later runs into Leatherface, who bludgeons him to death with a God, what the heck would you call that? Meat hook. No, not meat hook. With a hammer. And so he drags Kirk, away, slams the door. Well, Pam hears this and is wondering where Kirk is. So she decides to go into the house, which is a big mistake. But she decides to go in the house and she's horrified by what she sees. She sees a bunch of human remains made up into furniture. She finds the living room strewn with human and animal bones, and she later runs into Leatherface herself, which Leatherface chases her, grabs her, puts her on a meat hook, and later on, then Jerry is like, hey, what happened to Kirk and Pam? We should probably go look, or I'll go look for them. You guys stay here. So then Jerry goes. Well, when Jerry gets there, he finds Pam in a freezer where Leatherface, hears him and takes out Jerry. Well, at about this point, it starts getting dark. And Sally and Franklin are kind of worried about where, their friends are. So Sally wants to leave Franklin behind to go look for Jerry because she feels like Franklin's going to just slow her down. And at that point, Franklin's like, no, I want to come with you. And that's what happens. Well, there's a little bit of an ambush here. Leatherface ambushes Franklin and Sally. Sally gets away, but Franklin is killed, which a lot of people, or some people I know, were happy about it. Some people weren't. I'm part of the ones that was like, finally the annoying fucker gets it. And I'm sorry if people are pissed about me saying that, but honestly, Franklin was that type of character that you just hated. And so Sally ends up running for the gas station, where the proprietor kind of comforts her and calms her down. Well, he comes back in and throws a sack or whatever over her head and hits her, knocks her out, ties her up, and we later find out this is the cook. And so the cook later picks up the hitchhiker after he beats up the hitchhiker a little bit. And one of the famous lines that I think is one of the funniest ones that the cook has is he looks at what Leatherface did to the door and he says, "Look what your brother did to the door." And there's so many times where I'll hear that in different groups or whatever, and it just makes me laugh every time. And I know Slash and Cast, which shout out to them, he pretty much one of the guys from Slash and Cast pretty much plays that every now and then during the live streams they do for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. And pretty much we see them enter the house, which is the cook, the hitchhiker, and also Sally, who's knocked out still. And we see the masked man reappear dressed in women's clothing. The proprietor later identifies the masked man and the hitchhiker as brothers, and the hitchhiker refers to the masked man as Leatherface. The two brothers bring the old man, aka Grandpa, down the stairs, and they cut Sally's fingers so that Grandpa can suck her blood, and she later faints. The next day, she ends up regaining consciousness, and the men end up taunting her, bickering with each other. And they later find out that they're going to kill her with the hammer. Which is funny because they're like, you know what? How about we let Grandpa have this one? Well, Grandpa's so damn weak, he keeps dropping the hammer repeatedly And so Sally's able to break away. She runs out, pretty much crashes through a window, gets up. She's being chased by um, the hitchhiker and Leatherface, who the hitchhiker gets some slashes on her. And once they make it to the main road in front of the house, truck ends up accidentally hitting the hitchhiker, killing him. And then the truck driver later attacks Leatherface with a large wrench, injuring him, and escapes on foot. Sally, who's covered in blood, flags down a passing pickup truck and climbs into the bed, narrowly escaping Leatherface. And then Leatherface, in one of the most iconic parts of the movie, does like a chainsaw dance in a way, in frustration because she got away. And that's pretty much the end of the movie, really. And Tobe Hooper made this movie very good. I wish it was I mean, now it probably has gained its, cult status, but ultimately what truly happened back then was it was in the drive-ins. It was a drive-in movie, and once they were done with it, it was out of there, which is very sad because I feel Texas Chainsaw Massacre could have been that first slasher film, even before Halloween. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what it is about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. And so now that they have a game out, which you can play on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and I think that's it. Hold on one second. I'll look that part up. All right. So it's for PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox Cloud Gaming, and Microsoft Windows. And it's a fun game. I truly 100% love what they did with the Friday the 13th game. They made it kind of like the movie, but it's also a prequel to the movie, so to say. So I really do hope and I pray that this Gun Media game, although they had a hand in the Friday the 13th game that later got bogged down by a lawsuit, which supposedly we're getting another Friday the 13th game sometime. I don't know if it's soon or when it's going to be, but we're getting a TV series for Friday the 13th, and we're also getting a movie, maybe. I don't know. We might, but so yeah, once Gun Media announced that they were going to do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, there was so many people that were like, oh, well, Gun, they screwed up with Friday the 13th. It wasn't Gun. It was Elphonic that screwed up on Friday the 13th, the game. Sorry about that. And so when Gun finally allows PC players, which PC players may not like that I say this, but with the tech test, I think you should open up to consoles as well, because once the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game came out to play, which was yesterday, I had some trouble getting into lobby. I had some trouble sometimes with the game, but I also do say this. It's a great game. Yeah, it's going to have its flaws, but for everyone that I see compared to Dead by Daylight, they're two separate games. And why does it matter if one's better than the other? Like, enjoy both games because we got both now. I mean, I wish we still had a Friday the 13th game, but we lost that one. And also, I think one of the best things about the game is that Kane Hodder did motion capture for Leatherface. Edwin Neal, he reprises his role of the hitchhiker from the original film, which is cool. It sucks we couldn't get the actor who played the cook because he had passed away I think shortly after the second movie, or maybe before the second movie. Not quite sure. But yeah, that's my review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film and of the game. I hope you all enjoyed this. I know I've only been doing this for a little over 20 minutes, but I want to get gaming again. Sorry. So, and also Monday I start school. Um, so hopefully I can still do Tuesdays for pre-record stuff. If I can't, I'll let you all know on the Facebook group or on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. But yeah, also I want to say thank you to the 84 subscribers that have subscribed to this show and that keep watching it. I mean, I never thought on YouTube alone I'd have 84 subscribers. I mean, it's so awesome. I know the room's bare. I know. But maybe next month you'll see a bunch of movie posters or posters in general, let's be honest. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope that if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, as it does help out this channel and it helps us grow. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. We're at 84. We're at, on Instagram, we have 204, 205. On TikTok, we're almost to 100 followers on there. So, I mean, the sky's the limit, guys. I just need you guys to subscribe. And also, I'm hoping to have the Patreon up and running by hopefully next month. Again, tier 1 will be you get a shout out on the show. And if I can figure out how to do it, I'd put up a border where it would have everyone's name that is a Patreon. Tier 2, which is going to be $3, which tier 1 is $1. Tier 2, which is $3, you get to be entered in a drawing to request me to either talk about video games, movies, music, TV shows, any wrestling. I can even talk wrestling, football, and all that fun stuff. Also, in tier 2, you also get what's in tier 1. And finally, with tier 3, which is $5, you're going to get everything from tier 2 and tier 1. But with tier 3, you get entered into a drawing where you could possibly come on the show and we can talk some smack. Or, you know what? Better yet, we can talk about movies, video games, TV shows, wrestling, boxing, anything but politics. Because let's be honest, politics are fucking stupid, and no one really fucking cares. Anyone that cares, I feel bad for them. So again, thank you so very much. Also, like I've said, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Please like the videos. Please comment on them. Please hit the notification bell. And if you have some constructive criticism, tell us in the comments. Say, hey, Steven, you know what? You're not doing this right. Or, hey, Steven, you know, you're not, your walls are bare. You know, we want movie posters. We want it to look like, you know, you're actually knowing what you're doing. And it will come. It will come. So, as always, I'm Steven Jarvis. Go check out the channel, which is youtube.com/@StevenJarvisandFriends podcast. Also, you can check out Return of the Living Flet. Sorry, Kyle. Flet's Movies and Pop Culture 13. You can check out the Nonsensical Nonsense podcast. You can check out Peter Anthony podcast, Talking Shit, Bucket of Chum. You can check out all those great podcasts on YouTube. So please go check them out. Come over, subscribe to us. I'm Steven Jarvis, and I will see you on Tuesday.